All right, so just practice how you remember. Don't worry about like, being correct and stuff. Just want to see what you remembered and how well you remembered it, okay?
So I'm just gonna buzz and you gotta go. Go. Go.
Nope, nope.
Hey, Bree, would you flip the other lights, please? All right. Now, what's your number at now?
Well, that was only 20.
Okay. So we're in reposition. I'm not sure if he responded to the remote or if he was responding to the leash tug.
Yeah,
So
I'll try to go a little higher. Because I didn't tap him right away when he went over there. I didn't think to.
Sure. So hold a sec, yep.
All right. All right. Go ahead.
The part of it says he already wants to go there.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of the process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
We'll just do 3 more, then we'll swap. Now, did you not practice at all, or did you just practice like once or twice?
No, we didn't practice at all.
Okay.
We were in Montana till Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were not the greatest days.
Yeah, it was like fall, just one day to the next.
All right.
There we go. Yeah, he felt that one for sure. Good. And then hold right there. Now back up, you got it.
Yes, good boy. Good job, buddy.
Good, we're gonna do 2 more, then we'll swap.
You're getting it. It's our fault. We didn't practice here. This was a short.
Yep, good. Yep.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yep, good. Gonna hold right there.
Yes.
Good, we're gonna do 1 more, then we'll swap, but this is all looking good. The main things that I usually look for are the moving backwards, because that's the one thing that most people tend to forget,
What's that?
is reversing. You're doing it. Everything that I'm seeing is correct, so you're doing good.
Wait, sorry, what is he? He keeps moving backwards?
Right. Most people forget about the reversing aspect of it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm just like watching to see what you remembered, and everything is going really well. So good job.
All right, last one. All right.
Good.
Yes.
Attaboy. Good job. Excellent.
Toby.
Go ahead and swap.
All right, good one.
That's just 24. That's what we found the sweet spot for first day. At least. the sweet spot.
Yeah. I mean, for here, yeah.
Here it's really quiet, so. Toby, sit. No, go all the way. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Right. Yep. And back. Good. Good. We're just do a few more.
Good boy, Toby. Good job.
That's it. Tell me when you're ready.
There it is. Good.
Am I pressing when he's coming?
No. The moment you start to see Toby move towards you, you lay off the pressure.
Yeah.
I've done that.
What's your number?
24.
Okay. We'll do just 3 more.
Get it.
Good. Right there. That's good. Yeah, boy. We're gonna do 2 more. Those are all good.
Good job, Toby. Good job, buddy. Okay.
He's getting it.
Good. And last one. Oh, wow.
I'm not making it. She's not calling you yet. She's not calling you yet. All right. Whenever you're ready.
Now back away, tap, tap. There you go. Hold right there. Tap, 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 tap. Great. Good job. Wait. Now turn the face. Back. Tap, tap. Good. Hold right there. Turn the other way to face him. Yep. Back. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Hold right there. Back. Tap, tap. Good. Hold. And then you're going to turn to face him, but move this way to give you more space.
Like, you're gonna step
Like
off
this.
Towards our direction, but facing.
Yeah. There you go. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Now turn the other way. Back. Tap, tap. There you go. Good. Hold right there. That's fine for now. Go ahead and praise. Good. So he did a pretty good job. On the last one, yeah. But if he didn't do that, then you wouldn't know that you had something to fix, right? So this just kind of goes to show you how effective e-collar is, because you only had 1 session with them.
Yeah.
That one that we did at the park, right? That's how quickly they learn it and retain it. And I've had dogs that I've trained and like for rescues, and they go back, and then I don't see them for months, and it's like they forgot everything. Then I come back in 15 minutes, everything comes back because of the way it's taught. Okay. So all that looked good. So good job on remembering the exercise. Main thing to remember is whenever Toby is moving away from you, you always pivot to face him, but move away from him. Okay? Because that's what draws him to you. Okay? That movement, that motion, gives him something to attach to. So what we're going to do here is it'll make things easier now. We're going to add in that cue of come. And when you're moving back, you can actually reel in your leash as well. And that'll help, because right there how he got so far away is because since the leash was completely slack, it gave him a lot of options. So when you're shortening it, you're not shortening it entirely, just taking what you can. So that this way, if he makes a mistake, he only goes 10 feet away as opposed to 30 feet away. And it makes it easier for you to correct, okay? So we'll keep the same handler. What we're gonna do here is now we're gonna add in the cue of Toby come. So everything stays the same, but it's gonna be Toby come, and then tapping, and then moving back, okay? But you're always going to tap every time you call him, okay? So let's go ahead and get set up.
All right, I just want you to focus. Who knows? See where.
Usually.
I mean, he's not the best at it, right?
Okay.
Tap, good. That's good, and hold right there. Now hold back, tap, tap, back, tap. There you go, now wait right there. And what you're gonna do here is tap, 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 tap. Now back, tap, 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 tap. Good, hold right there. Tap, tap, back. Yep, careful with the wall. And you can pivot towards like there you go. Back, tap, reel in some leash, tap, 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 tap. Hold right there. Tap, tap, tap. Now what you're gonna do here is keep where you're at because you're out of space. Let's go to like 28. And you're gonna put a little bit of pressure with the leash pulling towards you and tap, tap, tap. Hold right there. Now praise. Okay, so most people tend to close that gap because it's just a couple of feet, but you want Toby to always come 100% of the way himself. Okay, if you leave that little gray area of like, I'll walk to you, he'll start to like land away, but then he'll take off running again. And you're wanting him to stop right at your immediate side. So then we just bump the number a bit. And then also we're gonna cue in the auto sits. So whenever he comes to you, if he doesn't sit on his own, you'll tap and he'll put his butt down, right? So that's what I was actually having you do before, but then he started running towards you. Okay, so we confused him. That's normal, that's actually part of the process. That's why we do this long leash stuff, because I already know of all the problems that I typically come across when working with dogs. One of them is getting confused and running away. And obviously we don't want Toby to ever run away when he feels a collar. We want him to think, when I feel this, I have to return to my owner. So that's why we do these things, because we have to work through that confusion. We have to work through panic or anything like that. Because once he's fully off leash, you're not gonna have that leash anymore to physically guide him. You're only gonna have your remote, okay? We're gonna go and do that 4 more times, and then we're gonna swap handlers. Break.
Very good, mommy. My name is Daddy, buddy. Right.
Good. Better. That's okay. Praise. So I want him within a 2 to 3 foot radius of you. Okay. Now I'm not a big fan of him turning this way, but he's just trying to face Paul. Right. So he's being a daddy's boy today. Break. We'll do 3 more. Because if you're the one that called him, he really should be just attentive to you.
Right.
Good. Hold right there. Tap, tap, tap. There he goes. And then see what he does. Tap, tap. There we go. Good. And praise.
Good boy.
Good. Break. Good. 2 more.
Good boy. More being a little taste for here. Wise. Wise. You was mine. Oh. You was mine.
Good. Good. Hold right there. Praise. Good. I'm going to do 1 more, then we'll swap. Good. Much better. Good. And what we'll do is we'll swap directions. So we'll keep you holding Toby there, and then Paul will do the recall coming towards this way.
Toby, come.
Good.
Yes. Good boy. It's a good call. It's a good call. Okay.
Good.
Toby, come.
Good. Hold right there. Good.
Yes. Good job, boy. Good boy. Good boy. Come on, now.
Brick.
She'll stay seated. Okay, it's okay. No, it's okay. Okay. Okay, let's go.
Come.
Good. Hold right there. Tap, tap. Good move. Good move. Yep. Hold right there. Tap. Good. And praise.
Yes. Good boy, buddy. Good job. Good boy.
Good. We're gonna do two more, then we'll move on to the next thing. That's all good.
Toby, come.
Yeah.
Good.
Good job, Toby.
And last one.
Yeah, nice one.
Toby, come.
Very good.
Good job. Good boy. That's it. That's all. Good job.
So
Go on.
now we have the baseline of the recall stuff, right? So now, if you call Toby, he comes to you, right? And let's say you decide to like move after he's already landed. What do you think he should do? Yes. Okay. So there's more to the recall. We're going to start moving to the second half of it. This was essentially still part of the first half. Come when I call you, and then put your butt down. We never want to move towards Toby. So I sometimes don't want to call their dog, and as they're coming, they'll move towards the dog to meet them. Or if the dog lands over here, they'll like walk over and they'll go like this. We always want him to come 100% of the way. Okay.
He does that a lot. He'll like, when we're at the park, I'm just gonna be over there. He'll, first, I have to see time like, probably after like the third or fourth time, he'll be like, okay, and then he'll come. But if like, he's got a few, like he tries.
Yeah.
And then when he comes, he'll like stop like
Over there.
over there,
Yeah.
and I meet him.
Yeah. So we want him to come to us 100% of the way.
Yeah.
Because, one, You want to think like emergency scenario. So if he responds to the fourth recall, let's say he's running towards the street, you don't want him responding to the fourth recall. You want him responding to the first recall. But if your condition, I call you 4 times and then I make you do it, that's what you end up creating. Because dogs learn by pattern, okay? So here it's, I call you, you get over here, right? And not only do you get over here, but you get over like all the way over here, okay? So a couple reasons for that are, one, if you're calling him from something, like playing, if he's landing off kind of over here, something will end up growing to is that he'll like go over here, slow down, and then pick up, loop around, and go back to what he was doing again, okay? Or as he's returning, he'll just divert and go right back to what he was doing. So it's supposed to be a straight shot, okay? So we're just getting that foundation down, where he's associating, like when you call me, I move toward you. And that moving backwards part is forever, okay? Because let's say you're in a setting where he's too far and he can't hear you, or it's very loud. When you remote him, for Toby, it should be, I feel this, and he'll start scouting for you. So he can't hear you, but he'll see you doing this. So that's like the visual cue of you need to return to me, okay? You don't, as long as he's moving towards you, after you do those initial first 2 to 3 steps, you can then stop, okay? If he diverts and like goes off, then you would start tapping and move back again because you've lost his attention, okay? So for Toby, he's over here, he starts to feel this, and then the moment he makes that first step towards you is when we stop. So that tells him that's what I was looking for, okay? So pressure on when we need him to do something, pressure off once he complies, okay? Or pressure on when we need him to stop doing something, like maybe he's eating goose poop, and then pressure off once he complies, okay? So it's more so like a communication, and then the level just depends on the environment what's going on. So here it's quiet, so we went from 24 to 28, and on the 28, I don't know if you noticed, he started giving more direct like attention to you, because we were making the recall more meaningful, okay? And it needs to be meaningful, otherwise you risk your dog not returning. So that's just something to keep in mind. So here, what we're gonna add now is what I call the side steps, or my side step exercise. So you're gonna call Toby, everything stays the same. So once he arrives, you let him settle with the auto sit. And like, let's say he lands on my left, okay? Then I'm gonna go like this to my right. He should move with you. Once he moves with you, you should put that butt down. Then I might move backwards. Again, he should move with you. I don't care how he moves with you. It's not like heel. Heel is very specific, right? So this side, you walk with me right shoulder to left leg. Here, it's I'm going to move, and you just follow, okay? It should be an immediate follow. It shouldn't be a gap. Because like, let's say he takes like 3 seconds before you tap, you're going to create a 3-second delay. It should be the moment you start moving, he's already thinking, I need to follow you.
So when you move, when I'm stepping in my second?
If he doesn't respond, right? So if I move like this, and I'm already here and he's still there, you need to tap to bring him in. And you'll learn to recognize that when you start moving, you'll learn to recognize if he's going to immediately follow, okay? Because if you delay with the taps, you're going to create that. The other purpose of this exercise is to create confusion, like earlier, right? I was having you tap to get him to put his butt down, but then he was like, I'll just go to dad. Like, that's not the right answer. You never run away when you feel this. You always come closer, okay? So these are things that I see all the time that people don't think about. So in life, when you use your obedience, there's going to be other factors involved. Other dogs, scents, animals, noises, whatever. Is you need to make him move towards you and figure it out, because you won't always have the ability to use sound, okay? And you're not going to have the leash either. So we're trying to force all these mistakes now. So when he's fully off leash, I'm not concerned about, are we going to see anything, because we've worked through all the kinks, okay? So that's why at this stage, also, when you call Toby, you will always be remoting, because if I'm Toby, right, and you call me, and he responds very quickly, but let's say you tap too late, what do you think happens?
He thinks that his response is wrong.
Exactly, right? Because it was a delayed tap. You said something, he did something, and then it happened. He goes, whoa, maybe that was wrong. So he starts to go off the opposite way. And we don't want that. We want him to think the tap always means the return. So we do this again to force, shh, he's deaf. Yeah, I'm someone that says such a habit that I forget. is you're doing this to force the issue, so that again, when he's fully off leash, when you remote him, he just thinks return. Okay? So everything stays the same. Now, when you do this exercise, any motion but forward is okay. So if Toby lands here and I move forward like this, what does this look like? Yo, right? So then I don't know if he's following me because he knows to follow, or if he's healing. So I'll either move like this, or he can move backwards. Any direction but forward, like, including like if he's here and I go like this is still full. Okay, it still looks like heel. So you're doing very awkward movements, even angled is fine, to see if he's gonna follow. Okay? Who's gonna go first?
Come.
Good, 1, 2, that's good right there. Then wait, good. Now hold right there. Now here he's gonna tap, 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 tap. Wait a moment. Now here, reel in your leash a little bit. And tap, tap, tap. A little bit of pressure towards you. Tap, tap, tap. Good, wait right there. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Now try to your right. Good. Hold right there. And then try tap, tap, tap. A little bit of tension towards you. Tap, tap, tap. A little bit more. Tap, tap, tap. There you go. Hold right there. Good. And break. Yep. Break. So the first one was good. The next two were kind of, he got confused.
Yeah.
But that's why we do this.
Toby, come.
Good. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Good. One more. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Better. Much better. And break. Good. 3 more.
Come.
Good. Tap. Good. Tap. Tap. Good. Tap. Tap. A little bit of tension towards you. Yep. Good. Good. And break. I'm going to do 2 more.
Toby, come.
Good. Tap. 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 Good. Tap. Good. Tap. A little bit closer. Tap. More so pulling towards you. Tap. Good.
Yes.
And one more.
No, come here. I'll be fine.
Toby, come.
Good. Good. Tap. Good, and praise.
Good job. Good job.
Excellent. Now we'll swap. He is super whiny today.
So whiny.
It might be the environment. Because the only other time I remember him being this whiny is when we did the place work.
Yeah, yeah,
But that made sense because he was following you.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's the other dog.
I was fine.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. The other dogs possibly.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think he doesn't like when they're separated.
No.
I think so.
He's so extra.
Oh,
He's being extra whiny.
they're being extra whiny with it.
But I feel like he's like a baby dog. He whines a lot. Go back, Will. Cut.
Side step.
Tap, 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 tap. And then try to your left. Tap, 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 tap. Good. And then you'll try backwards. Just watch for the leash there.
No.
Go backwards.
Right? Hold on.
Down.
It's a nice possum impression.
I'm done for the day.
Tap, 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 tap. There it is.
Yeah. Yes, good for you.
Good. Break.
Away from me.
Toby, come.
Now turn the face back. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Try to your right. Good. Tap, 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 tap. That's fine. Praise. Good. Break. Two more.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, he's
Not
not,
a tough one. It's not good at that.
he's not having a coat.
We'll have to practice
Good
that.
phone.
Oh, turn.
Come.
Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap. Good. To your right. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Try it back with what space you have. There you go. Better. Good. And praise.
Good job, Toby. Good boy.
Okay, we're gonna do 2 more. Tap. Tap. Good. To your right. Tap, tap, tap. That's fine. Yep. And praise. And we'll do 1 more.
Back up a little.
Yeah.
Toby, come.
Good, right there. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Tap, tap, tap. Better. Good. 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 And then backwards. Good. Excellent. And break.
Good boy, Toby. Good job.
Good.
Good job.
That was better.
So he was getting it as we were practicing more and more.
Yeah.
Now, for the whining part, how do you think we would, what's the possible answer for stopping the whining?
Honestly, watching practice,
Okay.
I think he's whining because he doesn't feel confident in what he's doing. He seems confused.
Okay, what else?
I think he's crying because he hates that leash. Or the collar.
Oh,
He's
the
like,
collar?
what's up with me? I think that's
I
it.
don't know. I think when we put it on at home, he doesn't whine.
I think there's a couple of things. One, I think possibly the dogs.
Yeah.
Like, if they were playing, it'd be more like, I think he just wants to interact with them. But 2, just the separation of whining between the 2 of you. So how do you think he remedied that?
Go practice alone.
What else? Remember last time on the placemat?
Yeah.
What happened?
Maybe we kept buzzing until he stopped.
And what else?
Please, I mean,
We were buzzing, right? What else were we doing with the buzzing?
Increasing it.
Yes.
oh,
Okay.
right.
So what can happen is, like when I actually used to work the dog myself, and let's say it was the owner of the dog, it was in a couple switches down, right? Is when I would start working with the dog, when I would try to pull the dog away from the owner, the dog would keep pointing back towards the owner because of attachment issues. So then I would have to keep increasing the power until the dog was like, okay, I need to stop. I need to let you go for a moment and focus on this guy because remote doesn't settle, like it keeps going up higher. So I have to disengage the dog. So here, when you're calling him, it's enough to get him to do the behavior, but not enough to get him to like fully disconnect. Okay, because it should be, even though you're both, his family, it's when I call you, you're with me, and vice versa, right? But what he's doing is, you're calling him, he's going to you, but mentally, he's like, but I want to be with the other person too. Okay, just like with the placemat, where Paul had him here and he kept looking for you, and we just kept increasing it, and eventually we found that number, and he was whining, but then the whining went down and then it stopped, right? And then when we shift things around, he started whining again. That's all normal stuff, okay? So here, I actually would have increased the number. I just let it ride because he was responding well, and since you went a week without practice, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna, typically I raise my standards. But since he hadn't had any practice, I was like, well, he retained what he remembered, so now I'm just worried about teaching the skill. But then, like, let's say in a week when you come back and we're working on things, we begin to tweak them because we see that maybe, 28 gets him to move, but it's not enough in a realistic context where he keeps pulling off, where he's still whining and stuff. I start playing with that number, okay? But right now we're still in the teaching phase of the command. Typically it takes about 2 weeks to really get a concept, and then I start experimenting with higher numbers and stuff like that, okay? So in terms of practicing this, because I don't remember if we covered this last time, this isn't realistic, right? Like, you're not going to be calling Toby away from each other, in real life. Like, he's going to be doing his own thing. He's going to be off leash, running around playing with dogs or whatever. So how do you think we make this realistic?
I mean, my idea was to take him to like a big park or field.
Okay.
Yeah, a field, but not a dog park, but a
Sure. And then what else?
Well, he has to get away from us,
Uh-huh.
so we can be staying together, so we can pick up a ball or something that he really likes and throw around 30 feet out there,
Uh-huh.
and then do the call.
Okay. That's one way. What's another way? Let's say, like, you want to utilize your environment, right? Because you're not always going to be playing ball with them. And what can happen is if you throw the ball and he's running for it and you call him and he doesn't get the ball, he'll pick up that pattern and then he'll not chase the ball anymore. Okay? Now, I'm not saying not to do it. I just don't do it frequently because then I create that pattern. Okay?
do it at home?
Well, yeah, you should practice at home too, but realistically speaking, right, like if I'm at, let's say Pause, there's rabbits, squirrels, and all that stuff there. So like if I have a dog that's prey drive, I use that to my advantage, okay? So then like I go and like there's trees with squirrels and I'll go break and I'll be at the end of the leash and I let the dog be a dog. I'm not opposed to that. Like I'm like, do your own thing. But when I say something, I expect you to do it, right? So if he's barking up the tree and stuff, I'll let him do it for like 5 minutes. And then Toby come. Doing the recall while he's actively doing something, completely not paying attention to you. Okay? So the analogy I use is like kids playing video games. You know, they're so into the video game, like mom and dad will come by and like wash the dishes, or, like do your homework or something. Kids like, okay, 10 more minutes. And then they forget, right? So it's the same thing for dogs. When they're really in tune to something, you'll say something, and it's one ear, not the other. So we're trying to make it where you say something, and I don't care what he's doing, chasing a rabbit, jumping at a tree, barking, playing with dogs, something where he's actively, paying attention to something else, and then I'm issuing that recall, okay, because that's realistic. Typically, when people have to call their dogs, the dog is chasing something, running away, or running towards something they shouldn't, but it's almost always in a way motion, okay? So then if I can recreate that as well, so I had a client. He lived across the street from this huge, open land lot. And every morning he said there'd be 50 geese there. And his dog loved chasing the geese. So he bought a 100-foot leash, and he would hold on to the end of it. And then he would just go there and say, break. And he would call his dog sometimes, mid-run. Sometimes he'd call the dog when it was just at the geese, or sometimes when it was in the middle of the geese, right? So he was utilizing and putting the recall at any point, and then within the week, he had a perfect recall because he had the setting, So he's like, yeah, Jesse, I can call a dog at any point, chasing the geese, in the middle of the geese, running towards the geese, just taking off, just about getting there. He was able to practice all that stuff. So then it was super easy for him to transfer to the dog park and everything else because it was convenient for him. Recall tends to take the longest because it requires people to go somewhere, have the leash, give their dog the freedom. But then what can happen in the beginning is if you drill this too much, the dog won't leave you, okay? Because they're thinking you're just going to call me. So then that's the second part, right? Where it's like, all right, crap, now I've created this problem where now the dog isn't comfortable because they're thinking you're just going to call me a bunch of times. So then you have to rebuild that. So then I just go there and I let the dog be a dog and I don't do any recall because now I'm trying to build comfort. Okay, so if you do practice solo, you know, let's say go to the park, I tell him break, and I might walk for 20 minutes, like doing nothing with him, just letting him sniff and pee and poop and roll around, do all his doggy things, and then waiting for that opportunity. I'm like, well, that's a nice distraction, and then again, not calling him immediately, letting him get into it, and then 2 minutes later, you know, Toby come. And then he comes back to me. In some cases, if the dog has a really good prey drive, I can call him from the squirrels. They'll be here. I'll wait a moment, because sometimes the temptation of going back might cause them to prematurely break, and then I'll wait, and then release them and let them go right back to chasing the squirrels again. Okay, so you have both your distraction and your reward. If I don't want to drill it too much, at the end, instead of calling the dog and remoting, I'll just reel them in and avoid it, so I'm still leaving them kind of driving. So the next time I come back, I'm not worried about it, because the dog will learn, like, well, squirrels, but you're just going to call me 20 times, right? So when you work solo, you want to randomize how many times you call them. So you might be there for 30 minutes, and you call them once at the very end, okay? You might be there the next day, same amount of time, but you call them like 5 times, then 1 time, then 2 times. You know, you're randomizing it. Now when you work together, you can force it, because you can take him and remove him, right? But when it's you solo, that's when people struggle, because they're like, my dog won't leave me because I called him too many times. I'm like, you know, it's a problem. It's a good problem, because that's what prevents dogs from running away. Because now there's kind of a structure to things. Whereas most times when people let their dog go, the dog just takes off. I don't like that. I want, when I take off your leash, you wait for me to give you permission, okay? Because if the dog just takes off willy-nilly, no problem, that's why dogs run away. Because they're in their own world, but they're in my world, so there's rules. So that prevents that stuff from happening. So both ways are fine. But so if you go out there, that maybe go to a place and it's empty, there's no distractions to use, then you go to this. If there's plenty of distractions, then I go, okay, cool, then we're just gonna, you know, let Toby be Toby, and then use the opportunity when it happens. Another way to recreate realistic context is, like, let's say you have the little long leash, and then Paul takes Toby on the short leash and walks away with Toby, and as he's walking away, then you issue the recall. Okay, so you're recreating that away motion. If he's doing that really well, then I make it harder, and we start running away with Toby, right? And dogs tend to get confused here, because if I'm walking with Toby, what might he think? Right, so I have Toby. What does this look like?
Well, an H to heel.
Right, so he might start coming in close to whoever he's walking with. Right, so it would be very important that whoever does this doesn't say heel. Okay, you're just walking away, so that when the other person calls them, you know, you're going to see this in the beginning, and we actually saw a little bit earlier, I think, when you first took the leash after Paul had worked with them, he turned towards Paul before turning him towards you, because he had already done a batch of 5. So he was conditioned of, you're the last person I have to go to. Okay, so that may happen. So when you call them, ideally we're trying to get Toby to break away before tension kicks in on the leash. Because I want the remote to make Toby turn around, not the leash. Okay? Because once the remote gets him to do that, that shows me he's getting good concept. Because if he's chasing something, it's just going to be the remote that's going to make him divert and come back to you. Okay? So we're trying to recreate real life. I think here, questions? What park are you guys by?
So we,
Folsom.
Where's
the
that?
one I like. It's located in,
Like Western Fulton.
Western
Between Western Fulton and Western Armitage.
Okay.
Fulton.
I'm sure I've probably seen it because I've walked around there.
It's
Actually,
like
going.
a huge, it's like a Chicago Park District,
Oh, okay.
but it's not that park. It's just a huge, like, it's a big soft field.
Gotcha.
Huge grass area.
Gotcha.
That's it. So there's a lot of dogs that are off leash in the
Sure.
mornings, and
I mean,
the
there's
kids
two
aren't there.
little open areas, but,
Sure.
but yeah, it's a dog park in the very morning.
Gotcha. So what I would do is, you know, because you want to build to that. So that's part of his day. If you just take him to a dog park, so I stay away from using the word come if I can't make it happen. Okay? So like, let's say you practice a couple of times and he's doing great, really great, but take the leash off and go to the park. Good luck. because it's different context now, right? So we have the training phase. So there's, for recall, again, takes the longest to teach, and I give people phases. So there's the long leash to long leash dragging, so no longer in her hands, to no leash enclosed area, to no leash unenclosed area, okay? The reason why I put people through phases is because I know there's things that need to be done that the owner doesn't expect, right? One of them is running away through confusion, or panicking and not knowing what to do, okay? Or maybe the owner mistaps and confuses the dog, right? So we're trying to work through all those things while we have them on the long leash. So when we go to that no leash enclosed area, almost always there's still issues because dogs see things in pictures. So right now when he sees this long leash and it's a direct path to you. Somebody at the door.
Yeah, no problem.
So it acts as a path to you. Okay? So when you remove that leash and there's no longer a path, all of a sudden he's like, what am I supposed to do here? And he could have been doing perfect recalls. Leash dragging, perfect, everything's perfect, until you take it off. Okay? So the foundation is there, it's just now he needs to translate it to where there's no leash to give him a visual cue. Okay? Questions?
I don't think so. The only thing to flag for you is that, we rescheduled a couple sessions, so, I think Monday is due again. We only have, this.
Oh, a few days, sure.
Just FYI, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll work on something different.
Okay.
We'll most likely do stationary control, and then you still have your Zooms to set up for the resource center.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't have a key or anything.
We're 5 minutes.
Okay.
What else? Yeah. It's the dogs, I think.
Well, now it is, yeah, because
So
he keeps
that's
looking
now
at
right now, for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's just the whining.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Anything to call?
No, he's good, you know.
So we'll see Monday.
Okay.
We'll see how the weather is and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually supposed to be nicer, so.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 75 next week, so I heard.
Perfect.
But now we got to figure out how we're going to alter things, because obviously fall's here, and I got it, boys. Fall's here. Is that the short one? There we go.
Stay. Sit. Sit.
Because we're not always going to have nice weather.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing, we could still sort of check that up, I don't know what we do in this situation.
Yeah, when it's raining.
Yeah,
Yeah, we just make it easy and just,
from here.
because the only thing that changes is when you practice at the park is your number's going to go higher.
Yeah, there's more distraction, right?
Yeah. So,
The e-collars, they're safe in rain, right?
yeah, they're
Okay.
fully waterproof. You just want to make sure that the tab where you charge it is fully closed and sealed.
Oh, that makes sense.